Hello and welcome to the Special News Bonus Podcast. This is, I think, episode 5 or 6 or something like that.
I think we're number 5.
Yeah.
I think so.
Let's just say that then. The council agrees. Episode 5 of the bonus podcast, talking about non-gaming related stuff. However, we've just recorded a big E3 recap sort of thing based on some requests that we had. What games, what new announcements and stuff you wanted us to talk about. But we didn't really talk about what we have been playing.
Yeah, you want to go over that?
As such, have we?
Actually, no, we didn't.
So have you been playing anything this week, Jacob?
Yeah, I've been playing Judgment, which I think we're going to do a video on separately.
Yeah.
So that's the spin-off game, standalone game in the Yakuza series, which is already out in the West. It came out in December.
Yeah.
Not in the West, in the East, sorry, in Japan and this.
The opposite to the West.
Yeah, the other one. It came out in December and it was getting really good reviews, 9s and 10s. Famitsu gave it 39 out of 40, which is the most prestigious. Well, not prestigious, but certainly the most popular in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, when's the Yakuza game getting 9s and 10s?
Yeah.
It's not, is it? Really? They get quite high scores.
Yeah.
They get 8s at most.
Exactly.
And I say that as a massive fan.
No, it's true though. Critically, and when I say critically, I mean normally an outsider's perspective who's having to play the game.
Yeah.
Not a massive fan. So that's the perspective I'm coming into this from. So I thought, I get it. Well, when I say I get it, I'm working with Sega on it. So they said, "Do you want a key?" And I said yes. And I'm allowed to talk about it because I'm allowed to talk about Chapter 1, which is the first, I think, 8 hours of the game or so.
But you are going to do a video on that.
Exactly, yeah, and just wanted to say that people's impressions are out there. If you're interested in reading what people in the West think about it, there are impressions online now, but it's only the general gameplay. So for anyone that doesn't know what this is, it's like a Yakuza game by the looks of it, but you've got all these LA Noire detective elements and stuff like that. So
I mean, the series does have that, doesn't it? The series does have straying into other completely new gameplay mechanics out of the blue, mini games and shit like that. So chucking in the
mini
detective,
games, but detective is actually a bit. It's a first time thing, really. For
Yakuza. But it's the series does. It's not just a game where you're third person and you go around kicking people in the head.
Yeah, it's quite hard to define.
Yeah.
One single genre.
So
Yakuza.
So they've particularly gone down this other route of chucking in a whole other category of mechanics in there now.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Make you an investigator as opposed to
and it plays quite LA Noire, which I guess. But if you're interested anyway, it's a very limited amount of people listening to this anyway. Whereas when we put out the Judgment video publicly, it's not like we're mentioning this in the main one. So
true
I'm sure.
Story.
But the game's actually got me pretty hooked because it kind of plays like a Netflix original.
Yeah.
It's not an amazing The Wire or Sopranos. The writing is you want to scream and shout about it, and it is very tacky, very cheesy, but it works.
Yeah.
It's because for a TV show, I'm kind of expecting it to be great because all I'm doing is watching it. Whereas a game, the gameplay is fun. Yeah. But what's getting me through is this weird story. It's
cool.
Quite tacky and stuff. And what else have I been playing? Well, I've got me I've finally put my Xbox back into rotation. I've kind of been playing a lot of the Xbox games on PC, and I've installed the big new update, and I'm back on Game Pass because I think the one thing, I don't know if we talked about it that much on the E3 podcast, but I found that Game Pass was the winner. Do you know what I mean? Fucking hell, they added loads.
Which is huge because it's a fucking subscription service.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's a pretty significant moment, really. If that comes out of it going, instead of people going, oh, but I don't want to pay. I want to buy my games. I want to own my games. I want physical copies. Yeah. This has come out of it with people going, ooh, this looks.
Some new believers, right?
Yeah.
So I'm interested. I'm going to get the Ultimate Pack thing again, which now has the PC Game Pass involved in there, so you can play PC games, which is great because if you think about our channel and what we cover, funnily enough, it's been quite quiet the past month or so.
Yeah, it has.
I don't mean on the channel. I mean kind of gameplay wise. So we've covered pretty much all the big releases.
We haven't been drowning in stuff, have we?
No, I think when I look at Twitch, I spend a lot of time on Twitch and I see what's popular. A lot of the popular stuff past month was Plague Tale, which I don't think was on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But then Void Bastards was on Game Pass. Outer Wilds, that you talked about in the podcast last week, was on Game Pass. And a lot of the interesting stuff coming out is going to be on Game Pass. So it's really good for getting your finger on the pulse. And
Yeah.
I think what it's doing perfectly is getting people like into indie games
Yeah.
that wouldn't splash out. But if it's there and all it's costing is your time on top of your thing. So, but with that in mind, I've downloaded with the intention to play something that you guys have both already played, which is Metro Exodus.
I've not played it. I have downloaded it though.
Yeah,
off
right.
the
I
very
know you
same
have
Game
it.
Pass.
Right. Oh, right. Did you not own Metro
No.
Exodus? You never
No,
got it.
Just Mike.
It
had
was
it.
Mike. I for some reason thought it was you. Oh, I
No.
know what I'm thinking of. It was the same week. It was Far Cry New Dawn came out.
Yeah. Quite similar.
Two games that I
post-apocalyptic.
wasn't interested.
Yeah.
in.
Well, not similar at all, but they were both post.
Yeah. In the
That's
sense
the
that I
fucking-
wasn't
That's the
interested.
thing, isn't it? Two games can come out and be pretty different, but they're both fucking first-person shooters in the post-apocalyptic landscape.
Yeah.
So this is, it's
So-
a weird time.
Yeah, have you guys been playing any games? Because that's
Yeah,
quite quiet
of
for me.
course. Well, I'll let Liam go first. What have you been playing?
Yeah. Because of Game Pass, I played this little top-down dungeon crawler-y type game called Riverbond,
Yeah.
Ah.
which was announced at a State of Play, I think, like
Yeah,
a few
it
months
it
ago.
was, yeah.
And I didn't even realise it was out, but it was, and it was on Game Pass, and I actually ended up 100% in it
Fucking hell.
over 2 afternoons, because it's only short, it's like
Right.
5 hours.
Can
So
you?
I
I
Can
didn't
you?
even. I communicate with Liam, as do you,
Yeah.
probably every hour. Right?
This went by quite under the radar then. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's the first time
I don't
I've
think
heard
I
you
ever
mention
mentioned it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
But-
It hasn't come up in a chat.
I think because it's such a nice, it's so cutesy. It's
Yeah.
like Overload,
it. Yeah.
and it's so relaxing and easygoing that I think I just played it. I was like, that was nice,
No, well, now
and
that,
then went on about my day.
well, now that you've 100%ed it, could you enlighten us as to the name River Bond? What does that mean? Bonding with rivers?
I don't. There's a lot of water in it.
Yeah.
but I
Did
don't
you feel
think-
bonded to it?
Not really.
River Bound sounds like it would make more sense.
It would. River Bond sounds like like a name generator sort of name. It's like
For a law firm.
I need River Bond.
Yeah.
LLC.
I was gonna say it sounds like a product you'd keep under your sink as well.
It sort of unclogs the drain.
Yeah.
You like pour it
Yeah,
down the sink sorry, like people who came up with the name River Bond. It's a lovely name.
But it is. It's a really nice game. It's really easy to go, and it seems to have quite a lot of love from other indie developers because you can unlock skins for your little character you play as, and there's like the kid from Bastion,
All right.
Raz from Psychonauts,
It's a weird
the
coincidence.
donut from Donut County, I think, is it?
Really?
Yeah, and it's just like
That's
it's
cool.
and it's got support for 4-player co-op.
Very nice.
Yeah,
And
I think
it's-
that's the state of play. Like
Yeah.
the big takeaway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's very simplistic. It's controls with like 2 or 3 buttons and the analog stick.
Switch.
It's just really nice.
Cool.
And I'd say definitely give it and if it's on Game Pass, give it a go because it's a nice like Sunday afternoon
Yeah.
type game.
That's a weird coincidence, right? Because the only game I've played is Bastion, which features the kid from Bastion.
Exactly.
Very
yeah.
much so, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I finished it on the Switch.
Played it
and-
before, right?
Yeah, and I love Supergiant, but I got it. So when you buy stuff on Nintendo eShop and you get like some points, like whatever, but you
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
currency.
You
to-
bank your little gold up.
yeah,
don't
you get like Tesco Club Card vouchers for the Switch, right? And I had like £4 and it was on sale, and I was like, and I hadn't played it for fucking like years, right? So I thought, I'll get it. Really, really enjoyed it. It's like the narrative thing is like you can it's sort of dated in the sense that how when things are really cool at the time,
Yeah.
but they're kind of not anymore. So like when the narrator is like all the lines are like, he woke up on a rock in the sky. It's like, wow, there's a rock in the sky. Rock in the sky. That's cool, isn't it? But then, like, that's what all the narration is like. It's like, just everything's in. He just says "in the sky" about like
really?
100 times, right? And it's like but it's still like definitely still works, and it's a really cool little storytelling thing. And I was thinking because I've been playing Outer Wilds the week before, which is all, like reading the dialogue and stuff, and it's so weird how just that simple decision, like, shall we voice this? Or shall we make it like a text-based thing? Just gives you a completely different experience. Like if Bastion was this exact same game, except with text boxes instead of a narrator, it'd be a totally different thing. I think it would be quite unremarkable. It'd be a really nice-looking thing, but it's so.
Yeah.
It's like having a recipe, like where you just don't put sugar in it, and then suddenly it's like it's a totally different thing. It's like a totally different experience, and that's like the narrator is so important to how good Bastion is.
I think it's the guy in house doing double duty as well. I think.
Yeah, that's
in the
cool. I
way-
like
Because
that.
he did Transistor as well, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So
Similar sort of style.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like
But that's and then in that they try and make it a bit more like. So in Bastion, I'm not going to spoil who the narrator is, but in Transistor, it's the
I don't want to
sword.
spoil it. It's not Keanu Reeves, guys.
It is
You don't
Keanu
know.
Reeves. Jake's throwing you a misdirect.
Yeah.
It's the sword in Transistor, right? So you're
It is,
carrying
yeah.
the sword around this big cyberpunk sword thing, and that's what's talking. And so they have like a relationship in that. So, but Bastion is absolutely amazing. If you've never played it, it's really good. It's really cheap as well. Like you can get it. I got it for literally like £4. Basically got it for free because I had my club card vouchers.
Yeah.
So yeah, not really played much else to be honest. Divinity a little bit.
He's
Mhm.
still
Plugging away.
cracking on with
I
Divinity.
fucking love it, man. It's so good, but I'm not gonna keep. Every podcast.
You don't know, okay?
Yeah. So let's talk about some non-gaming stuff then. What you've been watching,
You
boys?
know what though, right? Before we
Oh,
go, on to
go
the
on,
game
go on,
thing,
go on.
just one thing I got to remark on. You know, like how the Switch gets a mention every fucking time, because it's the Switch, yeah. And PlayStation gets a mention every time because it's like it has games.
Yeah.
Like the Game Pass really has brought Xbox back into the regular conversation.
Well,
No,
it's been mentioned once.
Well,
So
no,
we'll
it's-
see if
no,
it comes
it's
back
not.
next
It's
week.
because
I've been a Game Pass, advocate for quite a
nearly
while.
every time.
I just like the fact that Jake's brought up the Xbox Game Pass once and it's back
No,
in
no, it's
regular
because
conversation.
every time me and Liam have a conversation about a game, right, it always
Game
kind of
Pass.
ends on us
Yeah. No,
saying
you're right, you're
saying
right.
to people, and by the way, it's on Game Pass if you
You're
want
right.
to
Yeah,
get
if,
it.
if you don't want to buy it.
Yeah. So it's like it brings up that because it's like rather than because it's always out on PC as well.
It's a
but-
fucking well good bit of business. Like it's
Yeah,
it's like they
specifically the Game Pass. Yeah.
yeah
Problem
and
is everyone's trying to make their own one now. Uplay's
That's
got
true.
one now, haven't they?
That's true.
Yeah, I saw.
the
Yeah.
Xbox and that is kind of I mean it was inevitable I suppose.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
but the Xbox One is still like the best proposition, isn't it? And
Mm-hmm.
I think EA whatever is pretty good. If
If you like
EA
older games,
If you
if
like EA games, it's
and
good.
if you like and if EA were actually banging out some good games instead of like whatever, do you know what I mean? If it would be like a really good proposition, I think. If Anthem was like an essential buy and all that sort of stuff, which I don't think it is, but I think the Xbox being part of the conversation is like that's pretty much. Can you think of how else they possibly could have done it? Because
No,
they've
and-
bought all these studios and
Yeah.
acquired the rights to all these games and stuff, but
And
they
what's-
haven't. You've got to wait before that.
Yeah.
You can cash that in. It's going to
what's
take
kind
years.
of funny though is like a third-party indie game. Yeah, it becomes like kind of just play it on the Game Pass. So it becomes like the go-to place to play indies now, and that's what I find interesting.
You're totally right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you've made your console the go-to place for indies, whereas Nintendo was pushing some indie games for ages. And everyone was like, yeah, indie games on the Switch. I actually don't think that's the case anymore because Nintendo, games are always coming out on one set day for everything other
Yeah.
than the Switch.
Yeah.
And it's going to come out on the Switch 6 months later for £10 more.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, if you don't have a PC or whatever, the best place to play the games is Game Pass. And even if you do have a PC, it's still the best place because you don't have to pay for it.
The Switch is an amazing option. The Switch is an amazing option if you if you need to share the living room TV or if you commute
travel
for
a lot,
long
yeah.
time or whatever. It's great that you have that option, but you're totally right. If you're up for playing indie games at home,
Yeah.
you want to think about the Game Pass. You're totally
Exactly.
right.
If you want to pay £45 for Resident Evil 4,
Yeah,
get a Switch in it.
yeah. So much. It's like Final Fantasy X is on sale, and 10-2, whatever the
Right.
pack is, and it's fucking a heartbreaking amount of money. I
Yeah.
can't believe it's
Same
like
with 12.
it's. I
How
don't
much is
get
it? Is it more than £20?
It's on sale
Fucking
right
well
now.
more than 20 quid, mate. It's closer to 40.
Do you know what? I feel like I say this every week,
I think
yeah,
it's
but
34 quid at the minute.
Something like
and
that,
That's
isn't
it?
on sale.
do you know what?
Something
Yeah,
like
I swear I've said this like 3 or 4 times in the past week or two. But I bought it on sale for Christmas for like a tenner 2 years ago
Yeah.
on PlayStation
It's
4.
mad. It's mad.
I
And it's
did
the
the
exact
exact
same
same
thing. Yeah.
Balls on that.
Look at that fucking
Yeah.
hell. The shiny.
I got-
Synergy!
I got Final Fantasy X 10.2 HD on sale for a tenner on Steam
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah. It's mad.
Fucking hell.
Anyway, can we talk about some moving pictures?
How do you say Chernobyl? Because I say it like that. And Sean, you know what? She looks after me, right? Because she knows I'm an idiot. And before I go on a podcast, she says, "Did you just say Chernobyl?
You're getting some
Is
coaching.
it Chernobyl? Just want to make sure."
I
I
say
don't know.
Chernobyl.
No, I make it sound like Lynn from Alan Partridge. but like I think it's
Or
because
Gary from Veep. That's a...
I watched the
Yeah.
thing a bit highbrow that I'm not familiar with.
You've not seen Veep, man?
Veep's
No.
good.
Fucking amazing.
I need to catch up on it.
So that's what we're doing. Like,
Okay.
we're watching it for
I
all
haven't
the way.
watched like the last
but
3
So this is
seasons.
it's actually written by the same dude, right?
it's
Armando
written by-
Iannucci, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, not Jukes. He doesn't seem to do anything by himself.
But
He's always
the,
writing with other
he's a
people.
creator, and there's a lot of like thick of it influence and stuff
Yeah.
in it. But I actually, do you know what? I have thought for a long time that it's just basically doing an American the thick of it, but I actually think it's sort of surpassing it a little bit. It's really good. It's fucking really good.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
favorite part of the thick of it was the film that they made.
In the loop.
What was
Yeah,
that called? In the Loop.
In
yeah.
the Loop, yeah. I like that. You know, I actually watched that before the thick of it, so I had no real context.
Right.
But I watched it a lot to understand it.
Yeah. Well, it's
You know.
the same.
There's only the one
It's the
character
same-
anyway
same
from the
sort of
thick of it
thing.
in the loop.
Yeah, right. It's the fucking angry
It's
Scottish
Malcolm
guy.
Tucker, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know, man. Anyway, they've. So anyway, after we had a quick Google, we Googled. You know, like how to pronounce Chernobyl, right? 3 results, and they're all those. You know those weird YouTube videos that are like 9 seconds long.
Yeah.
And it's like Stacy. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how to pronounce names.
Yeah.
We had 3 different ones, and it was 3 different ways, man.
Go on, hit me.
Well, I say, Chernobyl.
Okay.
Sh.
Yeah. I think I'm happy with that.
I think another one was Chernobyl,
Okay.
and another one was Chernobyl.
That's
Chernobyl sounds like a type of biscuit.
Now let me tell you, Chernobyl sounds wrong, but if you say that in an
a
Eastern
Ukrainian
European
accent. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Do you know? Let's not rule anything out. The fact is, none of us are Eastern European, and we don't know properly how to say it, and we can't factor in accents or anything. Maybe the people of, maybe all conscious now, of Chernobyl.
yeah, you do you, man.
you know,
It's good, you know.
Maybe the people from that region would say it one way, but then the people in like Kiev
Yeah.
or whatever would say it totally different.
Do you know
So-
what it was? Do you know why? Do you know what it came up? Because I was playing Judgment.
Yeah.
And then I'm playing it dubbed. Yeah, Liam, don't look at me. Okay.
It's all right.
No, I was playing it dubbed. Yeah, and they say Yakuza, and Sean's like, I've only ever heard you say Yakuza,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, it's Yakuza.
Yeah.
So, and then
Yeah,
after that,
Now we're
she
getting
brought
into the
up
whole is
Chernobyl.
it Sekiro thing.
Sekiro. Yeah, exactly.
It never
But
ends.
I think, you know, in case I made the PR blunder, she wanted to make sure I got the churro, the churro.
I like that. That's good.
She's good, isn't she? Yeah, so yeah. Anyway,
Sekiro, though, right? Is 100%.
Sekiro. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people on
It's
YouTube say
Sekiro.
Sekiro.
It's actually how
People
they
who
say
aren't
it in the-
fucking Japanese.
No, it's how they say it in the English dub as well, isn't it? Like
Sekiro.
Sekiro. Yeah, because I only know that because the last boss says, "Come, Sekiro," and you fight him about 125 times before you beat the prick.
when you,
So you- it's
it comes up quite a bit in the game. I
Come.
like it.
Yeah.
So they
Sekiro.
all sort of say Sekiro.
Same, I mean,
Sekiro.
actually, it's
The
the same
key
in
is-
Here we
Yakuza.
go again.
Key goes
Imagine
up.
how many times they say the word Yakuza in the Yakuza
Yeah,
game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So how
I
do
don't
they
know if
say
it's
it?
right.
I'm pretty sure they say Yakuza in the Japanese one.
It's,
Yeah.
it's because that's how Japanese works.
Yakuza,
You
yeah.
get a consonant and a vowel,
Yeah.
and it's like ya or ku or ki,
I
and it's never
see.
k or
Yeah,
k or
yaka.
ka. It's never.
Yeah,
it's
that's like almost like a
emphasized.
lowercase.
Yeah.
Well, the point of all this was I was like on Monday I decided I'm going to watch an episode of Chernobyl
Yeah.
before the bonus podcast to talk about it because it was been making the news because
Yeah.
it's like the highest rated TV show in IMDb.
Yeah.
Which IMDb the public can vote.
Yeah.
So Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes you have to be a critic to vote unless you want to take the Rotten Tomatoes user score seriously. Don't. And Chernobyl's the highest rated TV show like
Yeah.
ever. And have you seen the ratings for it? It's massive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when I say ratings, I don't mean like critical ratings. I mean people watching it.
Yeah.
Fucking massive. So we keep like me and Sean kept meaning to watch it, but it's like getting to bed. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and then it's an hour and 20 minutes. And if you got work in the morning, you're watching Shark Tank instead or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I've basically prefaced this discussion with a lot of rabble about Chernobyl because
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, lads, but I want to hear what you got to say about it because
Well-
everybody in the fucking world is talking about this.
So
Like,
you finished it, Liam?
Yes, I watched it as it was airing,
Right.
so I kept up with it week to week,
Cool.
and it lived up to the hype in my eyes.
Yeah.
Because I think I started watching it on the second episode, so I was a week behind, but then caught up, and yeah, I loved it. I mean, because it's just got, like I've said it before, it's made like a horror movie,
Yeah, it is.
which is like,
Especially the first 2 episodes, right?
yeah,
You know.
and it's got like, I think it's the soundtrack
yeah.
and the sweeping like slow camera pans across desolate rooms and just like the hopelessness of all the characters and stuff like that.
Thematically as well, though, it's sort of, it's sort of Chernobyl disaster. Like at the time,
thematically, it's a disaster.
No.
It's an interesting way to film a disaster.
It definitely is, and it sort of changed the game in a lot of ways. But specifically with like nuclear power, and because it's the 80s and stuff, and we've had like 30 years of advancement in what we know about nuclear energy and stuff. But at the time, you just get the sense that everyone on the ground when it happened was like massively out of their depth and just didn't know what they were dealing with, and like the firefighters are getting there. There's like loads of naivety about
how they
radiation and it feels like this fucking ethereal, godly, otherworldly power that we've got. And it's but like Liam says, like with the music and stuff and the way that it's all shot and that is amazing. And so that when the reactor is burning and the camera sort of is like scared to look into it, almost like it's like you don't want to look down there, you don't want to look what's in there, sort of thing, because you fucking can't. It's burning radioactive energy. It's like, and they say a lot of these lines which you would get in a disaster film, like this is the most dangerous place on the planet at the moment, and all this sort of thing. But
is that said through a phone call?
It's
like we need to get you out of there.
Yeah, like in a previously on.
We've seen numbers higher than anything before. Yeah,
it's actually the opposite of that.
Yeah,
you will stay there and do what you're told.
And
they're like, we don't want to be here. It's like, you're wrong. Listen to me.
Yeah,
it's really well done, and it. I think it gives it like gravity. The only but I've read a few things, right? Apparently, a lot of the engineers and stuff who are depicted who are still alive and have sort of said that they're really not happy with how a couple of the characters are portrayed. Especially there's this one senior engineer guy who's he comes across as a bit of a Mr. Burns sort of type, and he's the one who's always like, I'm not saying that because it's a nuclear power plant, but it's
because, I didn't even realise, but that's very good,
because he's going, you've got to stay there, don't be stupid, it wouldn't explode, it would never explode, just classic villain sort of thing.
I should know, I engineered the whole thing.
That's exactly it.
But apparently he wasn't anywhere close to being like that, and a lot of the accounts afterwards are like, saying that he'd made mistakes and whatever, but that portrayal of him as like a villainous type of guy is not fair, and
all right,
and it was more like a systematic thing. But that's what's so interesting about the story. Not only is it like this otherworldly level of power being a complete fucking dangerous disaster zone, 300 square kilometer exclusion zone, you can't live in anywhere near that area and stuff, and all that apocalyptic stuff combined with Soviet era like misinformation and fucking current era misinformation as well. But it's like that thing of like keeping a lid on stuff and things having to be secret,
saving face as well,
exactly,
not looking like a fool,
being an embarrassment, and then how they plan on keeping it quiet, but then they don't even realise that they can't keep it quiet. It's a nuclear disaster, so they start getting reports in Sweden saying, we've picked up a fucking huge nuclear explosion. What the hell's going on? Like, so they don't even realise they can't keep a lid on it. So all that stuff is really, really interesting. And then that journalistic thing of people having to, blow the story open, and the scientists and the Soviets who actually can see like this is really bad.
Well, I saw
it's so good.
A lot of articles I'd seen have said that it's actually one of like the most pro whistleblower stories in this generation. But I also saw that, Russia are making their own version of events involving the CIA being involved.
That's not a good look. Even if you want to do that, Russia, don't, innit? Give it a few years.
Don't immediately make it. Yeah, imagine if they called it Chernobyl: The Truth.
Yeah, I can very much see that. And don't go, well, we're going to make our own series and it's going to be truer than yours.
Exactly. And we're going to mention the truth. The CIA were involved.
Yeah.
So another thing that I thought was particularly
fucking Alex
funny.
Jones is a big endorser of it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I think that the thing that made me laugh about you saying that the accounts were different, one thing that I read, which was one of the guys that went under the drowning sector said, have you seen this? His account of it was, well, it was like that, but I was faster. I was actually better.
No.
It's true. He said, basically, I acted faster than that. I did it quicker. And you've slowed me down for dramatic effect, but I was actually way better.
That is one of the more horror-y high points in it. And I don't know if anyone's going to watch it, I don't want to spoil it, but it is actually really good how that happens. But I can see kind of what he means, because it's all a bit like and all like fucking. If you've ever
Right.
played Metro,
Guy
Is
in
it,
Metro
is it
games
kind
going
of
off the
like
roof.
stopping a
Exactly.
bomb with 1 second to go?
no, it's more like general Metro stress,
Like claustrophobia.
Right.
really
okay.
dark, heavy breathing, Geiger counter going off the charts, torch running out of battery, all that stuff. Someone's played Metro and gone, let's fucking chuck that in it.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
Well, I'm well up for it. I'm
It's
more
good.
than up for it. And I know the cast is full of like real gems. Like
Oh, yeah.
Jared Harris is in it,
Yeah.
right? Who's
Classes.
yeah, amazing in a Terror, which I think we mentioned in the last bonus pod. I think
Probably.
because season 2's on the way. He's fucking fantastic in it, and there's also a couple of other people in there that are in films that I like.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan-
Who I didn't even recognise it was him until the last episode.
Yeah, so he's like really high up on the casting, right? And he's
Yeah.
got a
He's
prominent
like
role.
second lead, near enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a thing for me. It was so
Their
weird.
arcs are so good. Like the relationship, just from a story point of view. Like I don't know how accurate it is,
Yeah,
but
the fiction lines.
the
that don't-
relationship from beginning to end is really good.
yeah. Barry Keoghan's in it as well, who's very interesting. He's in Dunkirk, and he's also in Killing of a Sacred Deer, and he plays like a very interesting character if you've not seen it. And it's also got Ralph Ineson in, who's the dad from The Witch, who's got like his face is the most miserable face.
Now this.
It's quite funny, Ralph Ineson, because he's meant to be the head of the Russian army in it, but he speaks with his proper northern accent.
Well, this is what.
Yeah.
So this is. So
That's what I
what
was
do you
gonna
guys
say.
think
Yeah.
of this then? So
I think it's fine.
It does. It does
works.
work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's a good like creative decision, right? It's not a good decision if you're going down the thing of accuracy, but this isn't a documentary, and it isn't a docudrama either. It's a dramatized telling of the story. So I think it works really well because their accents are like all different. Jared Harris is sort of doing something. He's not just.
is he Irish?
He is, I think, isn't he? But he's doing some sort of like. Don't know.
He changes like the cadence of his voice a lot.
Is it a very beige English accent?
It is a beige
Yeah.
university professor accent, right?
Yeah.
And it's so he's doing that, but then there's the voices are good. There's the guy from fucking EastEnders in it. As the head of from a long. Do you remember Little Mo
Yeah.
in EastEnders?
Trevor. Trevor the
And she
baddie.
kills Trevor with an iron.
An iron, yeah, after like systematic domestic abuse. Yeah.
Trevor's in it, mate.
Is he?
Yeah, full
He's
Scot,
gone up in the world.
full
hasn't
Scottish
Well, yeah,
accent.
From battering
like,
women and getting killed by an iron. The only way is up, really, isn't it?
I love it, man.
Yeah.
He's
Oh no, I did.
yeah.
You know, because like I looked at the casting for.
I
we
picked
came
up
here,
one Welsh accent.
Didn't even realise.
I think I heard the Welsh accent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, it does work. It does work because you don't think, well, this isn't accurate. I think it could be potentially be a lot worse if they were all sort of doing a fucking.
It would be a bit of a caricature, I
think-
suppose.
I
Like
remember
that,
reading they said they tried doing like Ukrainian and
Yeah.
Russian accents,
Yeah.
and they thought it just sounded bad.
Like they
Yeah.
were taking a piss, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
What was that Jennifer Lawrence film where she's like some Russian like?
Oh, Red Sparrow.
Sparrow.
Yeah, apparently the accents in that were like absolute trash.
Let me
So-
see this. Let me ask, right? And I open this up to everybody listening. Yeah, when you think of bad accent in the film, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Mel Gibson.
In Braveheart.
Yeah.
Is that your number one?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Well, no, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
So
So,
it sounds
do you know what the
honestly-
weird one for me that leaps out is? Yeah, Sean Bean in Silent Hill. You know that American
Yeah.
accent.
Yeah,
To me,
that's a
that is
good
like
shout.
Yeah.
so bad that it's like
I think he gave up in the sequel.
yeah.
He just started speaking with his normal voice.
Yeah, it's changed him. The whole ordeal changed
Well,
him.
he is meant to be in hiding in
Yeah.
the second
Oh,
film, so
I got an unpopular one. Tom Hardy and Mad Max. What the fuck is he doing?
he barely even speaks.
See, I was
though,
going to
really.
say, I can't remember him saying anything.
He has, like,
Exactly.
2 lines of
I
dialogue.
reckon he had about 200 lines.
And
But he
they
was
just
taught. But he was.
cut-
But he was just. They just cut it all out.
just
But
replaced it with
he just has.
Grunt.
He just has like this vaguely psychotic accent. I know it's Mad Max,
Yeah.
but it's
Tom
because
Hardy
it's like
and Locke,
it
I
has,
thought you were going with, when you said that. Cause
No,
Oh,
no,
too
that's,
close to home.
Or
that's-
in the concrete.
yeah, that's he gave it a good stab in it, but he's trying to do a Welsh accent. But the,
Keanu Reeves in Dracula.
That is bad,
That's
actually.
like, but that's like a famous one. Same
Yeah.
with Winona Ryder and Dracula. Both of them trying to do like
Yeah.
old English accents.
I really feel
Doesn't
like
quite work.
I feel like there's a big obvious one.
Yeah, there's
Just
do you
there,
know which
just-
one comes up a lot? And I actually don't think it's bad. I didn't even notice it as a kid. People give a lot of shit to Sean Astin in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, you're right.
People
you're
say
right,
that
yeah.
Sam in Lord of the Rings
It's fine,
is
I
shite. I think it sounds like vaguely Cornish.
It's fine, I think.
I think it's good.
I don't have a problem
How
with
he says Mr. Frodo and that, it's like it's really part of
It's
it to me.
it's a bit like corny, but the story is like sentimental and it's like fairy tale-ish. So I think it's fine.
exactly.
If it was Game of Thrones or something, if it was that tone, it would stand out a little bit.
Not enough Cornish accents in Game of Thrones.
But,
That's why it ended badly.
no, good accents in Game of Thrones actually. Some of the best bits of the series are people saying the word bastard.
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage is particularly good with his
I
accent.
think he's particularly not good.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I
hear
don't-
praise for him.
He sounds like
Yeah.
he does this weird.
Yeah.
He throws his voice. But tell you
Of
what,
the realm.
to go with what Liam's saying, I didn't know he was American actually.
Who?
Peter Dinklage. I thought he was just
Oh,
trying
I
to
knew
sound
straight away.
posher.
I assumed the first time he opened his mouth, I thought.
And I can't
American.
tell if, as the show went on, he was trying to sound grimmer and his voice became more American, or it's
Yeah.
because I've seen interviews of him and then I can't unhear it. But yeah, I don't know what bad accent. I'm sure there's loads of them, but
I think Game of Thrones had some amazing voices.
yeah,
Just really
Charles
good.
Dance,
Yeah,
Tywin.
it was the first thing I was going to say. Simon Lannister, Robert Baratheon saying "piss on that Ned." It's like is amazing.
and the
And
thing-
Ned,
And do you know?
Sean
And do you know?
Bean.
Do you want to know something else I find mad? Is that like you know when Americans do voices, they're
Yeah.
always like you what mate,
Yeah.
and it's all very. And do you know what? I've got to say, that's one of the worst things about watching American stuff. Whenever they do British stuff, it's always a guy with a monocle. It's very Family Guy-esque, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I've noticed that the people seem to pick up on here is they're all doing a bit of a Jon Snow, like
Yeah.
you what?
Yeah.
Like they're doing like a or like I don't know, like don't want it. Do you know what I mean?
Northern.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
a-
they're trying to
that's a
do.
meme now,
but
isn't
they're
it?
trying to do Jon Snow specifically. So that's good that the north of England, which by the way is a real thing, isn't it, is getting representation, isn't it?
Yeah.
The north. So he is actually in a
Well
way.
done.
Thanks, Game of Thrones.
But he's actually a Southerner, isn't he? He's actually very posh.
Yeah,
He's very
drip.
posh.
Shame that. So Chernobyl would. Like I don't know, man. It's 7 hours long.
Yeah, get it, was.
Yeah.
But it's 5 episodes, so it seems.
Mm.
I think that's a big part of the reason why I actually fucking watched it. Because I don't. It's very difficult for me to get into TV for some reason. But that was 5 episodes, and I could see the finish line. It's a self-contained story. It's finished. No, it
Because
doesn't.
it actually happens.
You can't have fucking Chernobyl 2, can you? You can't go back for series 2 because yeah.
Hopefully not. Anyway.
No, well, exactly. Yeah, but so it works like a miniseries really well. It actually plays. I said this like quite flippantly in a WhatsApp message to you, but I really do mean it. It sort of plays a bit like The Terror in the first 2 episodes, where
Yeah.
just gives a lot. It's a true.
I mean that means a lot to
True
someone
events.
that's watches the Terror, but because no one watched the fucking thing,
Yeah.
it's better to say that if you want to watch the Terror, it plays a lot like Chernobyl.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Truth.
I need to check it out big time. You know, do you know what you need to check out?
Is it because I said the word truth? Is that what like triggered that in your mind?
I was gonna say Black Mirror.
Cool, right? Black Mirror, yeah.
Because it's relevant. There's no point bringing True
Yeah.
Detective season 3 now, is there?
So you boys have been watching loads of Black Mirror, right? It's a new series.
Well, there's only 3 episodes.
Yeah,
so
they're,
not
all, they're all like.
loads.
Are they all feature length?
They're
all
pretty long.
70
They're all
minutes.
quite long.
Yeah, so there's only 3. Yeah, which I guess kind of made everyone go, oh,
Is that not better though than having 6 shit ones?
yeah.
I would say
Weirdly, this is the worst reviewed series, and it's definitely not the worst.
no.
It's definitely not the worst. And take my word for it, mate. From the people that think Metalhead are good, yeah, they can go away.
Yeah,
They're-
this is like Game of Thrones, giving the last 2 episodes.
Do you know what it
not
is? Do you know what I think it is? Yeah, and I can't blame anyone for it. I don't think anyone's wrong, and I guess at the heart of it, I'm wrong. But
Americans.
it's a show,
Oh.
not Americans, man. People that think that like Black Mirror is about technology at the end of the day, innit? But I don't really like that. I like it when it's a human story that's enabled by it. Like I like the interpersonal bollocks. Like San Junipero, if it wasn't about a fucking, actually I don't want to say what it is in case no one's seen San Junipero, which is the best episode of Black Mirror.
That's San Junipero.
Yeah.
For anyone who's
Yes,
having
San
difficulty understanding it.
Junipero, yeah, and it's
Sounds a bit like you're saying Sanjeev Napero.
Sanjeev Napero. It's like yeah, Sanjeev. So yeah, San Junipero. It won awards. It won like best TV movie. I think it's the highest rated episode of Black Mirror, apart from like the White Bear one or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like basically it's a love story, and technology is prevalent. But ultimately, what people like about it, I don't think anyone likes the technology bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they did on this season, which has pissed people off. It's people stories that's kind of got a bit of technology involved in it. So like what I mean is like there's like the one that's kind of getting like a lot of talk online, which is the worst reviewed episode of Black Mirror ever. Is got Miley Cyrus in it, and it's about a singer who has a line of basically like Alexa or Siri's, like kind of Google Home kind of things with her personality in them. But that kind of isn't relevant to the whole thing when it is a bit.
Yeah, it doesn't. It sort of they introduce it in like the first 15 minutes, and then it doesn't like technological aspects doesn't really pop back up again until the last 20 minutes.
And there's the same with Smithereens, which is an episode about like a disgruntled cab driver who holds someone hostage because he's trying to get hold of the guy who basically runs WhatsApp. But like whatever,
He's like the CEO. It might as well be Twitter.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, so Smithereen is the name of the app, and it's a hostage story, and you know the technology used in that is very much Twitter and a phone and Uber. Yeah, so it's not like mind blowing USS Callister kind of Star Trekky stuff. So that's why it's getting bad reviews, I guess. I'm assuming that's why anyway, because it kind of. It feels like these could be done without the technology in them. Yeah. Like, he is trying to get hold of the CEO of Twitter, but that could be, I don't know, his wife's boss or something. Like, you know what I mean? You could write it and all the meat of the story doesn't revolve around.
So you think critics got it wrong about this series then?
Personally, because if you're looking at it from a people story, the stories are interesting. Striking Vipers, which is the first episode... I think is the second best episode of Black Mirror that there's ever been out of everyone. Right. San Junipero being the clear front runner, and I think that might be common consensus. But number 2, I don't think Striking Vipers is going to have like a bunch of people backing it as the second best episode. It's probably a very unpopular opinion, but I love it. I think it's really clever what it's done and how it does it.
The last Black Mirror anything I watched was the Bandersnatch one, which I did really late. Like I only did it few weeks ago, so that's the
really that's like a year
choose your own adventure thing, right? And I was really underwhelmed by it, but I don't know if that's what cool. All right.
No, I think it gets a lot of critical acclaim, but I think it's more just because it's like the first of its kind.
But it doesn't
it doesn't feel like
if it's shit then
exactly.
It's kind of not, it's just the Telltale games in a different guise, really.
The problem, I didn't care about any of the choices I was making.
No.
Yeah. It got to a point where I was just like, well, let's just see what happens here.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I wasn't like, I want to try and get the best outcome for the characters. It was just
I think you could karate chop someone at one point. That was like the only
Wolverine appears at one bit.
Yeah.
If you go down like the jokey ending.
Yeah, I think structurally it just doesn't work. It's like it doesn't. It feels like it's building to a point, and then you it just peters out. And then you go, do you want to see the other ways that it could have ended? And then you're like, oh, he would have died this way. Or
what I didn't like is like one of the very first choices is you pick one, and if you pick the wrong one, like Will Poulter, his character, goes like, sorry mate, wrong choice. Yeah. And it throws you back to the choice you just made.
Exactly.
It's like, and if you choose it again, he'll just keep telling you go make the other choice, which I didn't like.
So it just doesn't work, does it?
You know, is that a meta commentary on does choice matter? Are you in control of your fate?
Yeah. Slash a really straightforward way of actually fucking producing
I think for me, what really took the magic away is, and maybe this is the consensus amongst people that play games, like you've seen it before.
Yeah, exactly.
You've seen a fucking dialogue tree before. For someone like my mum, my mum even plays games. Someone like, I don't know, my auntie or something, or uncle, maybe that's impressive, or maybe it's original or whatever. But if you've played a game from fucking like 1985 onwards, you know how it works, mate. Go and play Divinity Original Sin, go and play Baldur's Gate 2. That's proper, you know what I mean? Or a Telltale game even.
You could even go back and play Zork from the actual 80s.
It's just not as good as either an episode of Black Mirror or a game.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It wasn't. I think it's like middling, like 70s or something like that. You know, review wise. But you didn't watch season 3, right? You haven't seen San Junipero.
I saw 2 episodes, and one of them was with Bryce Dallas Howard in it.
Nosedive, I like that.
That's a good one.
I think it's got something to say.
I quite enjoyed it. Yeah.
I think that's saying something
Social
about
score.
now.
Yeah.
So that gets props from me. I think that's in like the top 5.
I think they all. If you ask Charlie Brooker, I think he would say that they all aim to do that, don't they? It's just how successful.
Of course he would, though. Do you know what I mean?
It's his show.
Do you know what I mean? He's not going to say this one means fuck all, is he?
Yeah.
But
Although Charlie Brooker, he might.
Yeah, some of them. Some of them I think are bleak looks ahead.
Yeah.
And some of them are more like commentary about now. And I think this season is more a commentary about now rather than a look ahead. And that's why I've got like the last one plays out dead weird, like the Miley Cyrus one. It's almost like a bit of like a teen movie.
Yeah.
It could have been on Nickelodeon
Yeah, no, really,
if you took out the darker elements from
it's
it.
supposed to be that way, I guess, but
But
yeah.
you know the really early episodes, like the one where he's like riding a bike and then it has the themes of like
15 Million Merits.
Yeah.
so it has the themes of like social media, like obsession with your phone, playing mindless games to get nothing, combined
Advertising.
with advertising, combined with X Factor, sort of that there's a way out of the shit life that you've got if you just like sell yourself out to and but that was like absolutely set in the future with all like a bleak like
that was like a proper dystopia.
it was dystopian stuff, but it was all like totally relevant to present day. So but I guess maybe they're just not doing that as much.
It's hard to do that that often. And like, how many episodes of Black Mirror is there? There's like 20, I guess. So it must be hard to get something so on the money like so many times. And Charlie Brooker is British, so he's naturally only used. And if you're British and funny, then you only need to make 5 episodes of telly, and you can fuck off.
But then he signed a deal with Netflix, so he's like
Getting
okay,
milked.
and he loves it by all accounts, and he's really happy, and he's got all the freedom. But
they let him do whatever he wants, really.
He's got exactly. The flip side is you have to produce 6 episodes of Black Mirror every fucking whatever.
Whereas,
so he's
whereas Channel 4, it's like make 2 episodes a decade, and that's it. Be Chris Morris, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just do like one series, get cancelled, and then people still think you're ace, and you feel fuck all. So that's the thing. I think it's that British American thing, but I don't know, man. I actually think season 3 of Black Mirror was the best one out that there's been overall, and Striking Vipers is good. And Liam told me that it was the San Junipero people, so
same director and everything.
So good. It's a story of like this guy, and like basically he gets Street Fighter, but it's for like the virtual reality augmented world, and him and his mate play Street Fighter, but then things get a bit sexual. But I don't know if I was going to say things get a bit gay, but I don't know if it's gay because he's playing as like
that's the premise of the episode.
A man, and his mate's playing as a woman, and he feels like he is like this Ryu character, and she's, let's say, like Chun-Li or whatever. So is that gay? Don't know.
Hence the episode.
And then it just goes down that route, which is interesting actually. And it touches that beautiful thing of like masculinity in gamers.
Yeah.
If you want to go down that route. But yeah, I think
I very much do.
It touches on a lot of those things and people not being able to talk about stuff, and I think it's really cool. I think it handles loads of good stuff well. So yeah, that only came out last week. These Black Mirror episodes, and that's it for another year. But that's the thing. I'm not mad on Black Mirror because
neither am I.
I binge them
on paper. It should be my absolute favorite thing. I love Charlie Brooker. I've read like everything he's written pretty much. Like I always like reading stuff, and I really like just the way he does TV, like factual TV stuff, and like just doing lists stuff on. It's the only way I would ever watch a TV program is if Charlie Brooker's in it. Like counting down fucking video games and that. I just love it. I like the stuff he does. So Black Mirror, I love sci-fi, I love dystopian stuff, I love like anything that tries to use the future to like make a comment on. I love everything about it on paper, and I just have never been able to really get into it. Like some of the episodes, I'm like, this is good, but then I think it's just like watching short stories or something. But then it's just not. It's just not getting to me in the way that I want it to. I suppose.
I do feel like there's a bit of a barrier of enjoyment for it.
Yeah.
I don't think apart from a few episodes, I've never been like, oh my god. So apart from San Junipero, which I can't stress enough, you should watch it. It's fucking great. And I think what's so good about it is it's like not really about the future. It's like very 80s. It's like on the march. Do you know what? I genuinely thought it was a werewolf storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got all this weird imagery and like it's like Lost Boys.
It has got a very Lost Boys.
And I thought it was about werewolves or vampires for like probably 40 minutes.
You got like it's in a coastal town. You've got the weird like punk group who they like get up to dodgy stuff.
And everything's at night and stuff. And I thought it was like a vampire or werewolf story.
Diners and stuff.
Yeah, and I think
very
it's
Lost Boys.
because the episode right before it is the one with Kurt Russell's son in it about the VR headset. And have you seen that one?
No.
It's like a horror, very horror themed one. It's got like that's the one where it's like loads of video game influences.
Yeah.
It's even got like the Would You Kindly brainwashing thing from Bioshock.
Loads of Easter eggs in it.
Yeah, and then I guess because it's fresh off the horror that I was like, is this a vampire story?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it wasn't.
Good old fashioned love story.
Yeah, it's well worth it. And yeah, I've seen Limmy on Twitter's mad for that as well. Says
It is
yeah,
really good.
it's fuck.
In Limmy's autobiography, he says how because Limmy's been on some of if you don't know who Limmy is, just fucking give yourself a little treat and have a look for Limmy on Twitter and just enjoy.
There's probably a high chance that if you do know Limmy, you probably only know him from his Twitch stuff if you're not from
I guess
Scotland.
So. But yeah, Limmy's class, and so I was listening to his autobiography, like audiobook thing, ages ago, and he says in that so he's been on Charlie Brooker's like weekly wipe thing, which is like a news, comment recap comedy
Yeah,
thing.
it's like a weekly show on British TV.
Yeah, really like short-lived, like Jake was saying. There was like 5 episodes or something, and everyone thinks Charlie Brooker's a genius. But Limmy was on that like every episode, and some of the stuff he did on that was like really, really hilarious. That's how I first got onto Limmy. It was like years and years ago. It was like 2012, 13, something like that. But he does, like just trying to figure out who Pitbull is and things like that and whatever. But it's really funny, right? It's weird stuff. But he says after, like, with all that like in view, that his relationship with Charlie Brooker came to him and asked him to write an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah,
And it's like
the Rambo knife.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
it's the
watch
shittest
that.
idea.
because
It's the shittest idea.
he said that like because I don't know. I don't know if he said this. I went to see him live and
Yeah.
he told this story. He's probably told it every show, but
Oh, that's the story he said in his live show.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Cool.
Because when I went to see Limmy, and this is very weird. It was a Vine compilation.
Yeah.
So everyone knows Vine. It's like 7-second long clips. It was an hour and a half of this one guy's vines, right? Which is it's almost hypnotic.
Was he like sat down though on a little stage?
Nah, he came on, did a bit of preamble,
Comedy Store.
fucked off for about 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
Right.
Came and had a little intermission, played the second half, then did a Q&A at the end. A couple of his characters from Limmy's show told a couple of stories.
Right.
Spoke to the crowds for about half an hour, 40 minutes.
Right.
So it's about a 2 hours show.
That was when I went to see him. Right, I went to see him at a Comedy Store in Manchester, and
Same place.
So that's the same venue. So it's a comedy stage. So it's a really small stage, and it's a comedy stand-up venue. But then Limmy comes out, and then so when I went, it was short stories that he'd written for Daft Wee Stories, but it wasn't Daft Wee Stories. It was the book after that. Anyway, but for that he was like sat down the whole time, and it was like it's just a kind of book. Like he could have done it in a fucking Waterstones, I suppose.
Yeah.
But he was just sat there having a little chat, really, really informally, having a little chat with fucking hundreds of people, and then reading a few of the stories out and stuff. And he was like, "Yes, it's a weird show, but I guess
I've got to
it's a
admit,
nice little earner
it's
for
weird,
him."
isn't it? And then
He signed
it's
the
a
book
passed
and that.
only by
Yeah.
7-second clips back to back for an hour and a half.
That is weird.
That is weird, isn't
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
But he told the story that basically, so yeah, if you haven't got the gist of it yet, Limmy is like a comedian. He had his own like sketch show, basically. Like, I was gonna very patronisingly then describe a sketch show. I was gonna say like Key and Peele. That's really bad. Anyway, he had a sketch show.
Nothing like Key and Peele, by the way.
No,
Fucking-
but also a sketch show.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a comedian essentially, and
Yeah.
so is Charlie Brooker. Comedy is like their background. So yeah, when they had this chat about Black Mirror, he thought it was a comedy, and then he was told that it wasn't a comedy, but he couldn't get the idea out of his head. So it was something like he had this the idea was something like there's
Someone
this
just
Rambo
had a
knife. But if you kill the Rambo, if you've got the Rambo knife, you're allowed to kill people.
like the Purge, but with one knife.
So yeah, it's just this knife, and if you had it, you were allowed to murder people. It didn't make the cut, but
Somehow.
now that Charlie Brooker's running out of ideas,
Maybe we'll see a Rambo knife.
the Rambo knife idea with Limmy.
So that was he wrote, but that story was also in his like autobiography.
He
Of, like,
mentioned-
yeah. So that's that's weird. I can't believe. Imagine being offered, and that's what he sort of dwells on in the autobiography. Imagine being offered a chance to, and he was offered it in the early days of Black Mirror, like when it was.
Yeah,
So he didn't,
yeah.
like you say, he didn't realize what sort of thing it was going to be
like,
exactly in tone.
Post dead set.
So he could have got in at the ground floor with an episode of Black Mirror under his belt, and he fucked it up
Yeah.
because he wanted
And
to
I
do a
think the-
story about a fucking Rambo knife.
I think the only thing that he's done on like English telly is like in the IT crowd, which is a big American export, isn't it now? He
Yeah.
plays a Scottish
Yeah,
window cleaner.
which he
that
really
is-
wasn't happy about.
Yeah, because he went all the way from Scotland to London to appear, and then he's
As
like,
a racial
they
stereotype.
tell him, like do a Scottish accent that no one can understand. Bad that.
It said in the script, he said, speaks in unintelligible Scottish. Or Glaswegian,
That's
sorry.
it.
Speaks in an unintelligible Glaswegian accent.
Yeah,
So he was invited to the IT crowd to do that.
that's bad.
Which
That's
is, check Limmy out, man. He's amazing.
yeah,
he's,
very, very good.
he's like an all-round... He's not... You can't even say he's a comedian, because he's like...
He's just a funny
What
guy.
the fuck is he? He's just...
What's even weirder is that, like, knowing him from when Limmy Show was on, and then following the kind of Vine stuff a bit, didn't really use Vine much, and always checking in on him, to now seeing him on Twitch, and because like I work from home, don't I? So like I'm on Twitch a lot, and he's on in the morning.
Yeah.
So normally, I watch Limmy maybe. I can't watch him every day. He's too much, especially if he's doing his
Yeah,
like,
he's-
Sing Star and stuff.
He's a bit like...
He's full on, but yeah, it's like it's weird because he's now making it quite big on Twitch. Loads
Yeah.
of people in the games industry that I follow him because of his truck driving stuff. But,
He's a big, like... He's a big, like, Twitter...
Troll.
Sort of troll as well,
Basically.
Yeah. He's weird. He's a weird guy.
He is a weird guy.
He's a bit intense. His autobiography is actually really, really good. It's that hell of a life. It's weird.
A hell of a life.
Yes, yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I was gonna come in hot this podcast with a film or two that I've watched.
Go on.
right? Well, I haven't watched any.
Got
Do you know
about 10
why?
minutes,
Do you want to
so-
know why?
Limmy.
No. We've got to do it justice, right? How long have we got? I'll try and make this as quick as I can. And I'm going to need Liam's help for this.
Okay.
Well, I reckon Liam should talk for a little bit. in that
Okay,
case.
Liam,
Liam.
Okay.
take the floor. You know what I'm going to say?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
So Jake and I have been watching a series on Amazon Prime called Too Old to Die Young, made by Nicholas Winding Refn. He's a Dutch filmmaker. You might know him from making films such as Drive, The Neon Demon, Only God Forgives.
Fucking-
And this is his new series. It's got 10 episodes. Every episode is feature length.
Yeah.
So there's about 12 hours of television here.
Probably longer than that.
Yeah.
This episode I'm on now, episode 2, is 1 hour and 40 minutes.
It's really, and honestly, it's been review-wise, it's been quite divisive, but I think it's some top-tier stuff. You know?
It's
But
weird because the reviews are mixed because it's a 10 episode thing, like Liam says, but at Cannes Film Festival, he showed episodes 4 and 5.
What a twat.
Yeah, only episode 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And then people have reviewed it. One of the reviews is called "How am I meant to review a TV show when I've only seen episodes 4 and 5?"
My thoughts.
And it's a bad
also.
review. And a lot of it is like, I suppose this is good. I think the best review is Robbie Collins, who said it's like watching Falling Down, but it like if a film was going at the pace of falling through golden syrup. The whole film is sorry, I keep saying film because I'm used to making films. The show so far, I watched the first episode, the first hour and 25 minutes or whatever, and it is a gloopy pace. I've got to say, it's very
Some would say glacial.
yeah, perfect. And I don't know, Liam, how many hours have you watched of it? 7?
So I've
What's the deal with
watched
it?
5 episodes of it, and it comes to about 7.5 hours of TV.
And I bet you could describe the plot in about 40 seconds because
Pretty much, yeah. Because for a lot of people, they might see this and think it looks like proper pretentious art house bollocks, which it is to a degree.
I feel like
I'm not
feel
going
like
to
I'm
deny
being
that.
spoken to directly here.
Yeah.
some people, right?
I would
Let me
never
tell you,
that.
Mike.
Like, if you've seen any of his movies, you know he is a bit pretentious. He is kind of like in his own head a lot.
Yeah.
But basically, the plot of this show
Some would
is...
say arse, but
Someone said I was trying to be diplomatic.
Yeah.
But yeah, the plot of this show is it's sort of not quite an ensemble, but it's mainly about this cop played by Miles Teller. You know him from Whiplash, and basically he's a corrupt cop and his partner, who is also corrupt, gets killed in the line of duty, and he basically has to go work for this crime boss to pay off the debt him and his partner owed.
Yeah.
And so as a result, he becomes a hitman for this crime boss, and he comes across all sorts of unsavory characters, and it's very dark, very grim, and eventually more characters come in. They've all got different motivations, but it sort of settles into this thing where Miles Teller's character is sort of like a sort of amoral avenger. Like,
Yeah, a bit of a vigilante.
yeah,
kind
he
of
only kills like the worst of the worst people.
Yeah.
He only kills the worst of the worst people. Like, he only goes after murderers and child abductors and stuff like that.
Well, I think that I wanted to break this up by just quickly swimming with something that will make Mike just go, exactly. Right? Listen to this. Remember, Liam just mentioned there that Miles Teller's friend got shot. He got killed in the line of duty.
In the story.
Yeah, in the story,
Right.
he gets killed in the line of duty by a guy called Jesus, yeah? Not the Jesus, just some guy. This episode 2 is an hour and 40 minutes of just his story, just follows
Yeah.
the killer. No Miles Teller. So it's just been building up.
that's, you know.
It's
And
been
it's
building up
entire-
something for an
it's
hour and 20
entirely in
minutes,
Spanish
yeah?
as well.
So you're building up the story for an hour and 20 minutes, and it takes an hour and 40 minutes just to have a little
Like a detour.
side thing. And then
Well,
we kind
that's,
of,
you know,
Then it goes back.
Breaking Bad, you know, that's happened.
do you know what I mean?
I've
Do you know
seen
what?
that
I
before.
thought, if I say to Mike, you'll like this, I think he might go, well, you know, might defend it a bit. And then I thought, that's how I'll get him, but it didn't work.
I don't think I'd
Didn't
recommend.
rise
I mean,
I wouldn't recommend the show to you, Mike.
thank you.
Yeah,
You'd
it's
hate-
definitely.
you'd
Yeah,
hate it,
I
I
remember
think.
listening to Mike's
It's-
thoughts on Only God Forgives. I think we'll
It's
explain.
just,
This is more.
It really isn't
more
for
that.
everybody because do you know what? Yeah, you could watch it at 2 times speed. You know.
I hate watching people who I can see the self-reflection in the thing. I can see him going, this is great. Himself. And if I can see that,
Yeah.
I like
Just thinking.
Yeah.
You can say tell me
that's
he's
like
thinking.
fucking,
They're gonna love
you know,
this.
Mike Williams -5 towards Nicholas Winding Redfilm or whatever. You know, it's like
Yeah.
he's just. Yeah, who was he speaking to? Who was like, you know,
The
it's a bit of a
fame-
self-parody sort of
Yeah,
thing. I guess,
it's William Friedkin, director of The Exorcist. Why
and
do
he
we
told William Friedkin that he thought that
Drive is the best film of all time?
Drive
He
being
just happened to make that.
his
Yeah.
own film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had only been out for like a few months at the time.
Yeah, and then the fucking William Friedkin's laughing, saying, "Is there a doctor in the house? This
Yeah.
guy needs his head
This
checked
guy-
to his face."
Yes.
And then he
Yeah.
says, "Why don't you try and give it like 8 months to see if the film, like, you know, matures
Yeah,
well?" And he
yeah.
goes, "What about 8 minutes?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's winding him up at that point. Well,
He definitely is.
if you don't know who Nicholas Winding Refn is, and you like video games, which you definitely do, he's one of the guys in Hideo Kojima's new game. Actually,
He is.
is he called something like Dead Good Heart Man?
He
Don't
is
know.
called Heartman, but heart is in the human heart.
Heart Man, and Hideo Kojima's in this.
He
Hideo
is.
Kojima is
He's
a
in it for
Yakuza
a
boss.
grand total of about 2 minutes, which at the pace of a Nicholas Winding Refn film, it's about
Right.
a 10-second cameo.
This might be the most pretentious thing that has ever happened.
What the-
Nicholas Winding Refn plus Hideo Kojima
Yeah. I know.
in anything.
he play,
Well, they're
Kojima
both in each
plays
other's
the
stuff. It's
Yakuza man
Brilliant, isn't it?
I mean,
and he does something very violent.
If you want to see, like, well, one thing I don't really know if it's true, but you're like this for the pretentiousometer is going to go bust now.
go on.
So he played episodes 4 and 5 at Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah, I like where this is going.
And then he said, it doesn't matter, you can watch any episode of this in any order you want. Because his kids, he said because he hates the idea of making things episodic, because that's when things had weekly broadcast.
Right, this guy's just dove into developing a fucking TV show, hates the idea of making something episodic. Does
because that was when things were getting broadcast week by week, so you
Right.
needed to do it. But nowadays, people are just on their phones. His kids will come in, and they'll just watch something, and if they like it, they'll carry on watching it. So he's tried to make it so every episode is a jump-in point, and all the intentions, even though there's not much dialogue in the film, all the in the
TV show.
in the show,
It
are
might
all,
as
it's
well be
very
a film.
it's very clear. So you can tell just by looking at the guy's face that he's a cop or he's whatever.
I mean,
That's what he said.
right,
It's
for-
mad, isn't it?
to get an idea of the pace of the show, which is definitely off-putting for a lot of people, but I, for some reason, just
No,
I
it's
love
nice.
it so
I
much.
don't mind a slow pace. I really,
mean,
really
this is
do
like
not mind a slow
the,
pace.
the very first scene, his partner will give a monologue, and then go,
doesn't
"What?"
say a
He'll go,
word.
"What do you think?" And he'll slowly pan his head like that and go, and then
Yeah,
that's
but,
it
like,
for 30 seconds, and then just
Quentin
silence.
Tarantino does that. It's like that's not.
It's a
you
bit
know,
like watching Windows 98 screensaver, and you look on my
You're
Fire
waiting for it
Stick.
to bounce in the corner.
No, on my Fire Stick. It has loads of really nice, like the wallpaper. It's a screensaver. It's loads of amazing nature photography shots,
Yeah.
and I just shrink that scene and then go, ooh. Then the next scene goes on and I go, ooh. It's about 10 seconds each time, and it's a bit too long. But I'm looking and I'm going,
well,
yeah,
right,
that's
we're-
what this show
The
is.
thing about the show, it's beautifully filmed. It's got an amazing synth soundtrack.
Yeah, it has, by the way.
It
I
has.
don't know if that's original or
It
if
is.
it's like
It's,
Drive.
it's
and
made
been
by
licensed.
Cliff Martinez.
Yeah, it's fucking good.
And it's just good.
Yeah.
It's good. Like,
You'd like the soundtrack, at
Yeah.
least. It's a bit Blade Runner-y.
well, listen,
the
right.
use of colour.
It's not the pace
Yeah.
so much, right? And I like even the visual style. I like the visual style of
Yeah.
what's the name of that film? Only God Forgives.
Yeah.
I agree that does look great, right?
Yeah.
I really like it. Like I really like the way
Weird
the
colours
turtle, the bad turtle man, right? And they follow him.
Yeah.
The way the camera follows him around, even though the guy looks ridiculous to me, I love the way that is
Yeah.
done, right?
Yeah.
But so we were talking about our favorite films earlier, right? And then if Blade Runner 2049, The Hateful Eight, and Lord of the Rings are some of the longest, slowest films that have ever happened, Blade Runner and The Hateful Eight have been the happiest I've been in the cinema since I've first watched, I guess,
The Lord of the Rings.
if I'm being honest, The Phantom Menace in the cinema,
yeah.
right?
Everyone loved
Yeah.
the Phantom
Right.
Menace when they were a kid.
I was
He was 9, guys, so leave him alone, all right?
right. Actually, it was depressingly 2 years older than that. I was 11.
Okay.
So no, when was it?
99.
99. Oh no, I was 9. That's good. I was 9. So
Sick, aren't I?
anyway,
Yeah.
so Blade Runner, right? People can watch that. People can genuinely watch Blade Runner 2049 and think nothing has happened in this. There's no story
Yeah.
in it. I've heard
Yeah,
real
but-
people say
yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, same, yeah.
And I fucking at this,
Yeah.
but I have.
We
I
all saw
can't
it twice,
remember.
didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember last time I was that happy in a cinema apart from
Yeah.
Star Wars, basically,
Yeah.
right? And that's a very slow film. So
Yeah.
is The Hateful Eight.
With Ryan
Nothing
Gosling
happens in
and
Hateful Eight for a large. It's just people chatting about different stuff, and I fucking love it, right? But it's when there's especially in Only God Forgives, I just do not understand motivations, thought processes,
Right.
who's wanting to do what, why is he doing that? Why I'm just looking at it thinking, why is this happening though? Right, a lot of the time.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not that it's
I could try and explain it, but I don't want to sound like a dickhead.
I really don't think. Let's
Yeah.
wait for the podcast to finish, and then let's not do that to people. And I'm open, but it's
I'll start another separate podcast.
fucking
The
hell,
reffing cast.
the reffing analysis
Yeah, I'll do it.
cast. But I just and a lot of that stuff where I'm just sitting there and it's just faces, sad faces, death. And then
Nice.
I'm supposed to just assume Jake's like 10 out of 10 so far.
Perfect. Yeah, but all the while you've got the undercurrent of thinking. You fucking think you're good, don't you?
And
Exactly,
right,
yeah.
that's a key ingredient, right? So, and equally, I don't mind not understanding stuff. I actually love not understanding stuff. I love thinking, what's going on? I need to figure this out. But when there's that's the secret sauce here is the pretense.
Self-proclaimed
It's
genius.
the genius, right? And even like Kojima and stuff is guilty of this. Like just that undercurrent of the creator. You can see the creators
Yeah.
like loving it and thinking, "This
Yeah.
is fucking brilliant. I'm so good." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's my problem with
Nicholas
Nick,
Winding Refn.
right. So sorry for.
He actually seems like a Nicholas, though, doesn't he? That's
Yeah.
You might
he
actually like
actually
his
does.
early films though, because they're very like
What?
less-
straight up
What are
Pusher
they?
trilogy.
Yeah, the Pusher trilogy.
That's how Mads Mikkelsen got famous, actually.
It's just like a trilogy of crime films about
Yeah.
criminals in Copenhagen, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have any of that. Like,
Nonsense.
yeah,
So that's weird. He's gotten more pretentious as he's gotten older.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The
Again.
more films he makes, the further.
Yeah.
Like I said, this,
Like Liam said it perfectly, actually, in the WhatsApp yesterday.
I said it
yeah.
in the what's like whenever he puts something new out, people always go dial it back a bit, mate. Go
Yeah.
back to your earlier stuff, which was good.
We must go
and then,
deeper.
But then he's just like,
Yeah.
no, I'm going deeper down this rabbit hole,
Yeah.
and you'll like it, and I'm ready for that wild ride.
Wildly
Well.
slow and purple and blue.
Yeah, red though.
Yeah,
Lot
this
of
time
red.
it's purple and blue.
Oh, right.
Lot of bit of orange in there.
all the primary colours.
This one's been a wild. Speaking
Yeah.
of wild rides, this has been a wild one. We've
Let's end
gone
this,
we've
man.
gone here. There,
He'd
and
love
everywhere.
that light. He'd have that light.
You know, he would.
He would
Yeah.
put
He
that,
would.
wouldn't he?
It'd probably be a
If-
murder weapon in one of his
Yeah,
films.
Yeah.
exactly. We've lost the video just because the battery's gone. But are we going to go now anyway?
Yeah, we're finished.
I'll just put the trailer on.
Yeah, just put a bit of purple on, innit?
I'll just put a sad Ryan
Solid
Gosling
purple.
face.
That would be better.
Yeah, I don't actually know what's coming up on TV for the next one, but maybe there'll be something amazing. Loads of big films are out. Toy Story's out right now in America and shit. So I don't know. The next bonus pod. Is there anything that you'd want us to talk about that's not films? Imagine if you like.
We'll
wanted
talk about snowboarding or something.
That's what I mean. Yeah, sea angling. You guys have got any suggestions? Let us know. I think it'll be quite.
Yeah, send us an email to Dear Special Moves as well for the next actual podcast if you want us to talk about any gaming related stuff. And
Cheers
see you
very
soon.
much, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.